So then I decided that in 3 days, the best course could be where I enable you to become your own trainer, where you have a roadmap to follow. Because, of course, we cannot do lots and lots of practice. I can give you lots of questions and I can tell you about, you know, I mean, I can give you lots of tests to do, but then, of course, in one day, maybe since you guys are working and you have your own schedules, it would not be possible for you to devote a lot of time. But if you have got a roadmap with you, which tells you what structure to follow and how to go about it, and to a certain extent, if you can become your own trainer, although it's a big claim to say that I've become my own trainer, but then at least you should have a path there with you at the end of 3 days, something which you can follow, and something which is like a roadmap or a Google map to move from point A to point B. So there are three things here. Number one, identifying where are we right now. So when we say point A to point B, I need to know where am I standing right now? Am I halfway through or am I just the beginner? So once I identify this, I can plan my journey. So by diagnostic test, you would be able to know where you stand at this point in time with respect to reading, writing, listening, and speaking. That's one. Number two, once I know where I stand, I can decide about my path. Okay, fine. From this point, I will take this much time, and these are my areas. This is how I can work on them. So that's the second thing, which is the path. Where I stand, what is the path, and what is my destination. So how would you know that you have reached there? Of course, you cannot evaluate you on all aspects of the test, but still, if you get some idea about how this test is structured and what are the expectations, probably you would be able to know where you stand when there is some kind of benchmark there with you to follow with regard to all the sections of IELTS. So that's the expectation. I mean, that is what is in my mind, that in these 3 days you should be able to have a roadmap there with you. Many participants out of you might be taking this test for the first time, or some of you might have taken the test earlier, so you would already know what this test is all about. So after 3 days, this is my agenda, that you would know how to follow the path, how to become, how to have a roadmap for you. Now, I would like to start with, I have a lot of questions from you, but I want to ask you a question. Since you guys are all grown up and you know a lot of things about clearing different types of tests in your life, you might have faced a lot of tests, cleared a lot of exams in your life. If I ask you, what is the simplest way to clear IELTS? And let's say, let's give a realistic time of 10 days to us. So I want, so the question is like this. I want a plan from you that in 10 days, you are ready for IELTS from today onwards and you're supposed to prepare all on yourself. What would you do? You can either write it or you can unmute and speak. A
More
few of
and
you might
more
be, because
practice,
I know some
more
of
and
you
more
are from
practice.
training industry itself. You have been coaching people on English and other aspects. So in case you have got some suggestions, like a newbie comes to you and tells you and asks you this question, you know, how can I clear IELTS in 10 days? What would you suggest him? This is a very, very important question because it will open doors to a lot of possibilities for you also.
Practice and tricks and tips.
Okay, so somebody said, I'll just share my screen and I'll keep on writing all this, all right? We have some 10 minutes for this question, but yeah. So tips and tricks, all right?
And more practice.
More and more practice, all right? Yes. What else? Oh, somebody wrote something there.
People and talking to the people.
Mm-hmm.
listening to the people and talking to people also.
Listening to which people?
Uh, the relatives.
Practice with feedback, with strategies. Somebody said practice with feedback.
So my point of view, I mean, planning is the first step.
All right,
So
planning.
whole 10 days, how we can split the, I mean, 2 days for listening, 2 days for speaking, so that
Okay.
we
All
can
right. All
cover
right.
all areas.
So what you're saying is if you've got 10 days, probably you will divide these 10 days into 2 days of listening, 2 days of reading, 2 days of writing, 2 days of speaking, like that. And probably after that, maybe another 2 days for, so 2 days can be there, right? And then 2 days for the focus. That's right. Again, I would request you to mute yourselves in case you are not speaking about this subject or you are speaking to somebody else. Or I can, yeah, has some suggestion. Bandish, please go on.
We shall just first know that what topics we are weak in.
Mm-hmm,
We need to know our strengths. We need to know our weaknesses,
mm-hmm,
and then we shall work hard on our strengths without ignoring our this weaknesses. We
mm-hmm.
need to work more on weaknesses
Hmm.
and strengthen our strengths.
Okay.
That's what I think.
All right. All right. I just try to make a mind map of everything you are saying. So strengthen your strengths
Yeah.
and work on your weaknesses is what you are saying. All right. Anything else? All of you are, so you've got 10 days. And in these 10 days, I want you to make these 10 days to the most productive ones through which you can, prepare as much as possible. So how can you prepare for these 10 days? What would you like to do? Are there any other?
I can just create an environment, and
Mhm.
I'll try to be a live with this environment with for which I'm doing a preparation. Like I'll be with the as much as I can be live people or like that to whom I can speak in English. I can listen English. So it would be my general practice, indirect practice of the English.
All right, that's a great suggestion. Yes. Anything else? Another 30 seconds for this question, and after that, I'll tell you something. And again, may I request you to, maybe I can put all of you on mute, and then when you want to speak, you can unmute and speak.
Yeah, it will be better, sir.
Yeah. So, any other suggestions you have for these 10 days? Okay, here is what I suggest. If you have 5 tests with their answers, like model answers for writing and for reading as well as listening, if you have got 5 tests, full tests, 5 tests, right? Do these 5 tests 5 times. Do not do any new test. And I'll tell you what is the logic behind it. If you do 5 full tests 5 times, you will get exposed to every type of question that can come in IELTS test. You will get exposed to all the strategies that are required to answer each and every type of question. You will get enough practice to apply those strategies again and again and again. So if you are like, somebody told that if you're weak on something, you should strengthen your weaknesses and you should further enhance your strengths as well. How about doing 5 tests 5 times? Does it not answer all the questions that you have? But yes, so what is required? For this, all you need is 5 full tests with full answers and their explanations. Isn't it the easiest jugaad? In 5 days, can I do 5 tests 5 times? So let's say I do test one, all right? And I see that, oh, there are lots of gaps in reading, lots of gaps in listening, all right? I would not say 5 times actually. I mean, five is a little ambitious number. Even if you do 3 times each of the tests, you repeat them 3 times, same test, it's enough. And it looks big, but it won't be that huge a task. Why? Because when you do it the first time, it will definitely take longer than the stipulated time to complete each of the sections, right? Then you check it, you understand it, you will remember half the answers of reading, you will remember half the answers of listening. So when you do it the second time, let's say in the first attempt you took 1.5 hours to do those 40 questions of reading, this time you will take maybe 40 minutes. In the third attempt, probably you will do the whole test in 30 minutes itself. But I want you to act as if you're doing it for the first time. Now, why am I saying this? And why does it work? Why will it work? Can somebody tell me why will it work? If I ask you to do 5 tests 3 times, and I'm very confident that you will get everything, what can be the base of my confidence? How can I say this?
Repetition, sir. Repetitions.
So, of course, there is a repetition. What else? See, everything that you require for the test, you would be doing it, isn't it?
Yes.
First of all, you'll be
I
going
can
through
find
all the
out where
sections.
I'm doing
It's not
mistakes.
just about listening, I mean, not just one section. You'll be focusing on all the sections at the same time. Number two, you will be applying those strategies and reminding yourself of those strategies again and again, because when you go through them, it becomes a sort of habit for you, and you will start remembering them. When you start remembering the see what is my experience is, many participants I have seen, they do test 1, test 2, test 3, test 10, you know but they still do not clear the test. I mean, in the final exam they somehow falter there. The problem is, just give me a minute, maybe if some participant is there, got disconnected. Yeah. So the problem is, we do a lot of tests, but we do very less. We do not focus on learning. Learning happens only when we repeat something, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So even if you take 3 tests and repeat them 3 times, it would be better than doing 9 tests one time. See, why do people fail in IELTS? It's not a very difficult test, but still people fail. But it's not a very easy test also. I would not take like you to take it lightly, but definitely it is not a very difficult test. And there are some identifiable and very tangible reasons why people do not clear the test and why people clear the test. Why people fail? Why people do not get, you must I mean, you might be knowing people who have not cleared, or probably you might have taken the test. They think IELTS is a test of English. They work on their English and they focus on English to a larger extent than focusing on the test itself. IELTS is definitely a test of English, and good English is definitely important. I would not say so. This is something which I'm taking for granted actually. I'm taking for granted that you are already good at English. If you're not good at English, the fundamentals of grammar and those things are to be worked on. That's a different story. You'll have to focus on this aspect before you. I mean, it would be an exaggeration to say that without good English, reasonably good English, you would be able to clear the test. So definitely English is the foundation for this. But then The point is, after, those people also who come from a good English speaking background or English background, they also do not clear it. Why? So for them, the problem is the structure of the test. They are not acquainted with the test structure to the extent it is expected. They don't know how the test would unfold. They don't know how to react to different types of questions. Sometimes they get very emotional about certain aspects of the test. Like for example, when they get to write an essay, they do not manage the time very well. Or when they do a certain section of reading, they spend a lot of time on one particular question at the expense of other. When they do listening, if they leave one or two questions, if they are not able to answer one or two questions, they kind of think that they have lost the whole war. So they are not aware of the structure of the test, they are not aware of the strategies. So English and IELTS are definitely two different things. People with very good English may not clear IELTS if they are not conscious about the IELTS test itself. And that is what I am pointing at. So if you have got five tests and you do them five times or three times, you go through the same path again and again and again, using different environments and different tests, again, you get to understand the structure like the back of your hand. You start remembering it. When you start remembering the structure, it becomes a sort of habit for you to apply the strategies. But when the context is different, when the test is different, and you keep on doing lots of tests, you do not get a chance to fine tune your strategies. Why? Because your whole focus goes into the new test. As somebody told, identifying the right strategies and applying them. So the first step should be to learn those strategies, right? So that's my point. I would, so in case you want the the shortest of the shortcuts, the most cleanest of all the jugars, you can use this. Take any three tests, five tests, do them three times. All you need is five tests with very good answers and explanations. All right. So today I'm going to give you the strategies for all these tests. And then as a homework, you are supposed to do one small test. I'm going to send you that test and I'll just read the. Thank you, Abhinav. It sounds convincing. I really feel that this is the way. And,
Sir, we
you know,
actually want to know how to implement in the IELTS, means how should we implement this structure or whatever you are saying.
just forget everything I'm telling you. Don't think about it. Just take five tests
Hmm.
2 to 3 times. Yeah, Bandesh, please go ahead. I mean, see, it's like this. I'm sorry to say that you should forget. What I mean to say is this: just go through this path. You know, so like for example, how to conquer Mount Everest. What is the best way? I don't know anything about Mount Everest, right? All I know is I can walk and I can run, and I'm medically fit. I'm physically fit to climb Mount Everest. What will I do? I will ask somebody who has gone to Mount Everest once or twice and who is conversant about it, and I'll ask him, मैं तेरे पीछे पीछे चलूंगा, 3 बार जाएंगे, 3 बार वापस आएंगे, और 5 बार जाएंगे, 5 बार वापस आएंगे, और you रास्ते में मुझे बताते चल क्या करना है. Isn't it? That's what you will do. Of course, you will do a little bit of planning before that, so that your muscles are strong and everything. But then if you are really short on time, like we have got this course for 3 days, then we'll do this. If you've got some other plan of preparing after a month and then taking the test, then it's a different thing. And I'm not saying that it's not good. People do take 30 days or whatever time and they prepare well. But then our focus is very clear. I want you to empower with some method which you can use directly. Yeah, let me just go to the chat now. I can, yeah. So this is the simplest way. I've seen people doing it. And all the things get cleared by themselves because they know this is how it is supposed to be done. For example, if you talk about listening, sometimes we say that the third and the fourth sections are the most difficult ones. We don't understand what is the story and how they speak and everything. Let's say you do three tests 5 times. You get a very clear idea about how to approach each of the sections. Bandish, you want to speak something, if you want to say
Yeah,
something.
just wanted to know that does pronunciations make a great difference in speaking? Because there are many pronunciations for a single word,
Yeah. So I would answer it in
as
two
if
parts.
we
Number one,
generally education.
yeah, yeah. So I would like to answer this in two
Then
parts.
either neither, either neither.
So you don't have to see. There are certain words
Yeah,
for which both of the pronunciations are acceptable. So in case somebody say education or education, both of them are correct. In case somebody says schedule or schedule, both of them are correct. So they do accept these kind of
yeah,
variations. If you look at the rubric, if you look at the evaluation criteria of speaking, pronunciation is important, but what they say is that your mother tongue influence should not be so much that it becomes an impediment to understanding. It should not be like I am not able to decipher what you are saying because of whatever accent you use.
apart from that, just okay. Apart
Apart
from
from
that,
that, all
also wanted
those,
to know that
you can simply forget the whole criteria.
do
Don't
they
have
do
to kind of worry about your pronunciation to a great extent. And I can make out in case you want to, all of you can
they okay,
speak
do
and
they
I
repeat
can,
questions?
pardon me?
Do they repeat questions in different tests?
Of course, yes, they cannot invent new questions every time. So they might not ask the same question to every candidate, but of course they repeat the questions, no doubt about it.
Okay, okay. Means the question may be the same, but maybe in a twisted manner or in some other way they may ask anything like that.
I mean, in the same test, the same question gets repeated, is what you're asking?
No, I'm just asking about, for example, let us take an example of speaking.
Hmm.
So if they say that tell me something about your childhood,
Hmm.
so such questions are there. Means I also know that speaking and means listening and writing may be same.
Hmm.
Sorry, reading and writing may be same, but this questions means as if I have known that Makars is okay and everything for speaking. There are many other materials also, but which material to go for and which to rely means
So that is what I'm
apart
saying.
from this.
Forget everything. See, there are 2000 trainers and there are multiple ways of reaching to that destination. I'm not saying that those methods are good, bad, or ugly. All I'm trying to say is that there is one method which I know.
Yes, sir.
And
Okay.
I just want you to follow one method which I am telling right now. You can take help from all those methods. They have their own pros and cons. My methods would also have some pros and cons. This would not be the best
Yeah,
method.
getting the best from everyone.
Yeah.
That's my
So all I'm
methodology.
saying is, first of all, see what happens is we complicate our life with those questions which are not relevant at this point in time. What if
Okay.
I catch cold when I'm at the peak of Himalaya? Arey bhai, first of all, reach Himalaya. No, we will talk
Yeah.
about catching cold later. All right.
Yeah. That's
For example, what strategies should I follow? What do I do? There are 3,000 strategies. Don't get caught into that. Get into the act, isn't it? My method of learning something is simple. If I want to learn swimming, I'll jump into the swimming pool. First of all, I'll swim in 3-4 feet for 6-7 days so that my muscles get strengthened, and then slowly and slowly I'll move on, isn't it? I'll not think what
yeah.
will I do when I'm in 25 feet.
Okay.
Simple. So you just follow this path because All the strategies, all the structures are there in the tests themselves. When you do the test, and in a guided manner, when you've got the answers there with you, the explanations there with you, and when you do it again and again, your mind starts thinking the way the examiner has framed the test. And once you start thinking like an examiner, you start acting like an examiner. Once you start acting like an examiner identifies, oh, this person knows how to write. This person knows how to speak and present himself. He's not scared of all the 3,000 things which the whole world is saying, isn't it?
Confidence
So,
is the main thing.
so yeah, it's very simple. I'm telling you, take 5 tests. You should have their answers. You should have how to, evaluate yourself. Do those 5 tests 3 times, again and again and again. You will know all the strategies, because in 5 tests, all the tests which are there in IELTS, the essence of them would be there. Some level of complication, something which would be applied. Somewhere you have to read one line and answer questions. Somewhere you have to read one paragraph and answer questions. Some questions are implied ones where the answer is not direct. You have to stretch your imagination. All those instances would be there.
Yes.
So I want you to ask questions to me, and if you are convinced about it, just write 5 tests 3 times in the comments if you think this is the easiest way.
I generally have more time, so I would go for doing everything.
So that is fine.
But
You can identify your
yeah,
own. I mean, everybody would have different things,
yeah,
but I'm talking about something which is the baseline, something which everybody should
yes,
be able
exactly,
to do.
exactly.
You know, you might want to become a champion, and that's your prerogative. But then, as far as understanding the test and making sure that you reach to the baseline of eight
Structure
triple
is
seven.
structure is more important.
No, not just structure. It will
Understanding the
also
structure and implementing it.
you will become your, as I said at the beginning, I want you to be enabled with your own method of learning, so that you do not depend on somebody, right? Because IELTS as such is not a very theoretical test, it's a very practical test. Most of the learning is in doing what IELTS is all about. And doing means you should have something to compare to. So if I give you 100 essays which are evaluated at 8 bands or above, and I give you like 30, 40 of the letters, and I give you some good number of reading tests and listening tests with their answers and explanations, would it not be a very comfortable journey for you? And
Apart
of
from that,
course,
also wanted to
and of
know
course,
that
I'll also be
using
telling you about the strategies. So that's the purpose of today's class. And we're going to discuss strategies in next 30 minutes. I'll quickly take you through all the strategies one by one for listening, reading, writing, and speaking. All right. So are
Yes.
we good for it?
Yes.
yeah,
Okay. So let us start with listening. There would be maybe a little bit of repetition in what I say. For listening, I'm going to share a link with you, which is of book 8. I mean, this is not the only book or this is not the best book, but for this class, I want to have at least one book which is standard and which we follow. All right. I have taken many tests. I have managed to score band 10. Band 10 तो होता ही नहीं है मेरे भाई. Band 9 तक का ही होता है. In many and band 8 in few, which demotivated me all of a sudden. However, I do understand now where I was going wrong. Thank you so much. It does work. I don't know why does it work, but it does work. All I know is that when you do something again and again, your system, what is like, I would like to put it like this. I'll take one more minute on this question and we'll move on to strategies. What is the difference between you and photocopy machine? Tell me.
The difference is we think and we implement our own thoughts. what we are talking or what we are listening or writing.
Okay, so think and implement. Okay. I think photocopy machine is better. Why? Because photocopy machine doesn't think. It simply implements. You know, I call sometimes this is the curse of knowledge. Isn't it the curse of knowledge? Since we are able to think, we question everything. I mean, it's not wrong to question. In Indian mythology and in Indian culture, questioning is the biggest skill. So I'm not saying one should not question, but sometimes, even when we are convinced about something, we question it. नहीं 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 नहीं, ऐसा क्यों? मैं तो नहीं करता. तो हमारा ego बीच में आ जाता है. So that's what happens, isn't it? So I think photocopy machine is better. Whatever you give to it, it will do it without questioning. You know, you copy something which is like very religious and very uh, good English, it will photocopy it. You give it bad English, it will photocopy. So photocopy machine is quite good. What is the difference between you and photocopy machine? Tell me.
We can improve. It cannot improve.
Okay, so what do you mean by that?
We can means use our. We can use our thoughts and we can improve it. We can uh, practice. We can means improve ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
If the image is bad, then photocopy would image it, means it would copy it badly only. But
Okay,
if
so let's
we
say let's say image is good. The original copy is
yeah,
good. Let's go with this assumption. The original
okay,
copy is good and it is given to photocopy machine and to you.
then photocopy is okay.
Okay. See, the difference between you and photocopy machine is simply this. If I give 20 essays to photocopy machine and then I give it 21st copy, it will not give me an essay on that topic. I gave 21 essays and answers, 20 essays and answers, and then I asked that, okay, fine, this is the topic. Can you please write on this one? A photocopy machine cannot write. So a photocopy machine cannot learn. I'm sorry, I think the internet connection is not very, very good right now. So there might be some interruption there. So photocopy machine cannot learn and you cannot escape from learning, isn't it?
Yes.
Everything that you see or hear or think or experience get registered in your mind, whether you like it or not. A photocopy machine cannot learn and you cannot escape from learning. It is not in your hands not to learn. Your mind is like a magnet. So whatever comes, it will register it. Even if you don't know, it will register it. Yes or no?
Yes.
That is why you get dreams of things which you do not really pay attention to. So if you do 10 things, if you do 5 tests 6 7 times, everything will get registered, even without you knowing it.
Okay.
How did you get answer to this question? How do you, what was your state of mind when you were doing listening? It was speaking so much at that time, and I was thinking that I have missed the answer. But the point is that, oh, this guy has actually tried to hide the answer by speaking too much. So this you would identify only when you do it the second or the third time, isn't it?
Yes.
In the first instance, your whole focus is on getting the question right. It's only in the second and the third instance when you're doing the same test again that you get to understand that, oh, this is what it was, isn't it? So if you do the same test 3 4 times, you will intuitively learn every aspect of the test. And when you do the next test, you cannot escape from applying those techniques. You cannot not apply those techniques. You will apply. It's like driving a car. When a buffalo comes in between, don't you take a side, a subway, and quickly go away? Don't you just maneuver your car intuitively? Do you have to think, "Arey, bhais aa gayi?" Why? Because that system gets implemented in you. You cannot escape from learning. A photocopy machine cannot learn. So if you do it 3 4 times religiously, you will automatically learn and you will move to the next level. Okay, let's talk about strategies very, very quickly. Some of the strategies which I'm going to speak about would be just an extension of what I have said. So I'll not be speaking anything new about them. But yes, of course, there would be some additional strategies I'll talk about. Let me start with listening. So when you do listening, do test one, read the transcript after doing the test, then do the test one once again. I mean, test one, I'll say round two, and then test one, round three. But before that, you have read the transcript. All right. After doing the test, please read the transcript. You'll clearly understand where you have gone wrong. After doing it, do the test once again. Round two and round three. After round three, if you still do not get 40 on 40, I want you to go for round four or round five, whatever. You should be able to get 40 on 40 on it. By third round, you will score 40 on 40 most of the time. But it should be like absolute 40 on 40. Have that feel in you, even if you are doing a little bit of cheating, that you are doing it the third time. But try to see how you get 40 on 40 on it. See what will happen. In the first chance, when you do the test, you know, you will be very focused on answers. You will be thinking about how can I get the answer. Yeah, that is correct. That is what I want. I want your mind to remember the previous answers. I'll tell you why. Because when you remember the answers, the next time you will not be scared about answering. You will be listening to the speaker. And when you listen to the speaker, you get to understand how he was trying to hide the same answer previously. Who is this? Suraya. Suraya, do you agree? When you do the test the first time, you're not even listening to the speaker. You're so concerned about getting the right answer. When you do it the second or the third time, then you pay attention to what the speaker was speaking and how he was trying to hide. So in the third attempt, you will know everything this person uses to hide the answer. This is a super technique. I mean, yeah, go with faith. I'm not saying that I'm the best, or like this is the best technique or whatever. But I have a very strong faith in whatever I say. I think it works, and I've seen it working. People scoring 9 bands in listening, but just by doing this. 9 bands, 9 out of 9, and they try everything. They try all the techniques. They try whatever everyone says. This, that, whatever. Again, I'm saying this is not the only way, and this is not even the best way. I don't know what is the best way, but this works. Is all I'm saying with many people. So it might work with you. So do this. Test one, transcript. Round two, round three. Do the same thing till you get 40 on 40. Don't have to go to any teacher. Don't have to ask what should I write, percent or percent. Don't have to think about writing. Okay, you can write in caps though. So in case you think you are a little confused about writing, should I write in capitals or not, write everything in capitals. Okay, but this is the end of the whole thing. Try doing this. This is your homework. Book 8, test 1. I want you to do 3 times today. This is your first homework. All right. Now let's talk about reading. Reading is a little tricky, but I'll try to make reading also as simple as possible. For reading, I would like to know all of you are taking general. Is there anyone who is taking academic in this group? If you are taking academic tests, just write academic. So I'll get to know that.
General only.
All are taking general, I
Can
think.
you give listening book as before you are
Yeah,
giving a
yeah, yeah.
name of the listening book?
Yeah, I'll send you a link. Otherwise, if you simply write Cambridge Book 8, Ielts Cambridge Book 8, you know, you'll get 10 links
Okay,
from which it can be downloaded.
okay,
It can be downloaded. And in YouTube, all the listening scripts are there. All the listening audio and the answers are also there. So it's so easily available. Not one. I was trying this before the class. Like, you know, I got many links and I just copied one link. It gave me pdfdrive.com is one site which has got all these books. Okay, so let's talk about reading. What makes reading difficult? In fact, I sent a video today in the morning. Did you go through that video? How many of you have gone through that video which I shared in the morning?
yes,
Nobody.
I go through.
You went through it. All right. Okay. Anyone else? Yeah, somebody has copied it. Sagar, thank you so much. So you can download it here. Okay. So what makes reading difficult? What makes reading difficult? Let me ask this question. What is the difficulty? What is the problem with reading? Why people not get good marks in reading? Why? Is it difficult? How many of you think it is difficult? First of all, write that down. I think reading is not my cup of tea. Okay, time management. Yes. Time management, is it a problem or is it a solution? I think time management is a solution, isn't it? True, false, not given. Okay. What else? What else makes reading difficult? Yes, no, and not given questions are a little bit tough. Okay, Bandish. All right. What else? Bandish, Sagar, it's okay. I think people will be able to download. Otherwise, they will. I'll open that group so you can guide them there. But thank you so much. You are doing a great favor to all of us by copying them there. But yes, this is very easily available, is I'm trying to say. Title matching. All right. Too much of other stuff around exact answers. Yeah, this I like. Yeah, too much of distraction and too less of a solution. What else? Tricky questions. All right. So, how do you define tricky questions? They're not tricky questions, they are just tricky ways of thinking. You know, I'll tell you what. Let me talk about the solutions first. Number one, get really excited about writing, reading. Get excited. See, I got so excited, I misspelled it. You know, get really excited about it. You know, first of all, overcome your own fear. Reading is a game of psychology and mind reading. Let's say you are talking to somebody who is German and you know only Hindi or English, all right? This person uses his body language and certain words to convey something to you, all right? And you understand only Hindi and English, but you're talking to this guy who's German. He doesn't know anything, right? But he, whenever he wants a pen, he'll say something and he'll point at pen, right? He'll not use the word pen, but he will point at pen, right? Whenever feels thirsty, he'll say something, some water. I don't know what is water called as in German, but he'll say like this. But you think that this person must say water या पानी, मैं तभी इसको पानी दूंगा. He must say pen. Even he is pointing at pen, but you are biased towards language. You are not biased towards. You are not paying attention to the signals because you think it's a test of English. Isn't it funny? See, all the questions. I mean, it's an open book test. You guys are all graduates. You mugged at so much, you remembered so much, and you answered, and you kind of carried so much information in your mind and you presented it in a nice way. That was fine. Here it's an open book test. भाई खुद ही cheating करवा रहा है. Get excited about it and start thinking like this. Use jugaad. Don't be don't don't be the victim of curse of knowledge that I have studied English, my English should be very good, I should have a very strong vocabulary, I should have some background about this subject. Oh, true false not given is tricky. Oh, fill up the blanks. Oh, how do I match the content? First of all, get excited about it. People start taking reading as a challenge to their ego. Oh, it is difficult. See, it could be unknown to you at that point in time. But once you read the answer and once you relate with it, if you are still not able to get it, then I can understand, oh, it is difficult. But after reading the answer, and when you see, oh, this is the answer and how does it relate with it, and if you can write that down, I call this as corrections log. I'll cover that in the next class. If you are able to relate after reading the answer, that means it is not difficult. That means you were not very conscious about that angle. Related with what I said earlier. You're talking with a German person. I'm not even saying English. I'm talking about speaking with a German or a French or some Urdu guy, right? He speaks some gibberish, and you're supposed to relate with him and understand and reply. Even to that person, you would be able to speak if you are looking at signals and you are not looking at words, isn't it? All of us have similar existence. All of us have same problems. Whether somebody is in Australia or India, the type of life we are living is all the same. Just the language and the way it is presented is different. So why should you get challenged by the topic or the content? If you understand the context, you will easily understand the content. So this is one thing. You have to go with the right perspective. Don't look at the language. Look for signals. I'll tell you which signals now. Let me be a little bit specific. Which signals am I talking about? Signals can be divided into two parts. The first is words, and the second is symbols. What do I mean by words? I call this as signpost words. What are these signpost words? Words like but, however, currently, this, hmm, further, unexpectedly. These are called as discourse markers. What do you mean by discourse markers? Have you ever driven a car or a scooter? You all have, right? When you drive a car or a scooter, you look for traffic signals and other signals which are there on the road. Suppose there is a this sign U turn, यहाँ पे U turn लेना है और आप गाड़ी चला रहे हो और आपने सीधे निकाल दिया, क्या होगा? केक कट जाएगा, isn't it? It would be a happy birthday for you. You will get a new birth. These signpost words are that important. If there is a U turn, if there is something special they are speaking about, you're supposed to slow down. The way you read, I'm sorry to use this word, itself is faulty. You read the whole stuff at the same speed and you think that you will get the answer and it should come to you directly. So, number one, start paying attention to signpost words. They can be related to time, they can be related to, like, however, is a pure U turn, but is a pure U turn. When you get a though, 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 what does though or while specifies? जहां भी ऐसे words मिले इनको आपको गोला लगा देना चाहिए और इनका पैर छूना चाहिए ऐसे, क्योंकि आपको यहाँ पर स्लो होना है. The writer himself is saying that I want you to slow down here because I'm going to take a U-turn. When I'm taking a U-turn, how many of you take U-turn at the same speed you drive on a straight road? Try it once. Try. Do not slow down on the U-turn. Same thing we do while doing reading. You know, we do not slow down at U-turns. We just try to da 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 da. That's where the accident happens. So first is this: start paying attention to the words-based signpost. Second is symbols, something like colon, something like semicolon, something like double dash. So colon means extra explanation. A semicolon means, it's just a younger version, or a what do you call, lighter version of a full stop. Something is written in double dash. I'll give you an example today. I'll send a test in which all these symbols are there. We'll play with symbols tomorrow. Today I'm not giving examples, I'm just talking theory. Tomorrow is the day for practicals, where we are going to do some of these games. We'll be playing them. All right. So you have to pay attention to words based signals and symbol based signals. All right. And you have to use some techniques of reading. Let me talk about some techniques of fast reading. I would like you to also to tell me. Can you please tell me some techniques of reading fast? Techniques of speed reading. I have already
Yes.
discussed them actually. I'll not cover all of
Read
them.
through line, not
I would
words.
like you to see this video which I've sent in the morning. Skimming, scanning, yeah, Vinandan. Abhinava, yeah. Skimming, scanning is one thing. What else? And there is one searching thing also people talk about. I'll tell you in some simple words, a few things. I've already shared a video in the morning about reading, so I'm not really going in too much of detail. I want you to do a little bit of homework there. I copied in the morning that video. I want you to go through that one thought here, like religiously. It is 45 minutes, although a little long. You can skip the sections which you think I already know, but I want you to go through it and keep making notes. I'll tell you the technique in short. Yeah, somebody. Okay, let me tell you. Read the first para and the last para with more attention. This is called as Google Map technique. If you know the beginning of a movie and the end of a movie. In the beginning, they said in 1813 these were the methods used by us to predict weather, and at the end they say in 1950 human beings have destroyed weather to a great extent. What do you think will be there in between? They started with 1850, or 1350, and they started with 1950. In 1350, we didn't have any methods to measure weather. In 1850, these are the things people have done, extensive farming, clearing the trees and this and that. बाकी सारे पैसेज में वो क्या स्टोरी बोलेगा? बताओ जरा. Can't you guess it?
About the methods that they used or new techniques that they invented.
Fantastic. भाई तो पूरा पैसेज पढ़ने की जरूरत क्या है? See, what we do is we become too much dependent on the passage. We don't apply our own brains. We forget that we are already 25, 30, 35 years old. We have spent a lot of time on this earth. And somewhere we have read about everything in tidbits. Why to read the whole passage? Okay, let me give you one more example. At the beginning, they said that which example should I take? There was one example in my mind. There's so many examples coming into my mind. I'm trying to search one. All right. At the beginning, they said that I'll take some examples from Indian movies. At the beginning, they said that मेरा नाम राज है. नाम तो सुना ही होगा. And the end, Amrish Puri says, Ja Simran Ja. Have you all seen this movie?
दिल वाले
राज है कि
दुल्हनिया ले
राहुल है, पता
जाएंगे.
नहीं क्या है.
Yes,
राहुल
Rahul.
है, नाम तो सुना ही होगा. And the end, this guy says, Ja Simran Ja. You just saw these two scenes, right? Somebody in the train says, मेरा नाम राहुल है, नाम तो सुना ही होगा. और आखिरी में अमरीश पुरी saying, Ja Simran Ja, जी ले अपनी जिंदगी. Do you have to see the whole movie? You've seen so many love stories. You all know what would have happened, isn't it? Similarly, all these passages have a pattern. If it is a science based passage, it will follow a certain pattern. It will talk about some problem, it will talk about some experiments, it will talk about results, it will talk about actions. If it is a history based passage, it will talk about how the thing started, how the thing ended. Read the first paragraph, the last paragraph, read with anticipation. So this is one method of, see, you have to read 10 paragraphs. Instead of 10 paragraphs, you are just reading two. Will it save time? Okay. Next, after reading the first para and the last para, read the first line and the last line of each para. Just the first and the last line. First line is usually the theme sentence. Last line is usually the conclusion. Right? Remember these 5 C's if you can. The first C is claim, the second C is context, the third C is concrete evidence, the fifth C is commentary, and the last C is conclusion. This is usually the structure of the reading passages. They start with a claim, then there is a context, then there is a concrete evidence, then there is a commentary, then there is a conclusion. What do you mean by claim? Claim is something like India is better than, I know what you could be thinking. Let's say Pakistan. This is the claim, I'm just claiming it. What will I do? Is this a claim? Claim is something which is based just on faith, like it could be an opinion. It's a claim, it's not yet supported. So I'll give some context. Let's talk about education. Look at the schools of India, look at the schools of Pakistan. I'll give some concrete examples. See how many people have become CEOs after studying in Indian schools. So that's concrete example. I'll give some commentary. Education is something which changes everything in a person's life, right from the way they behave to the way they speak and relate with the whole world. Commentary. Conclusion. Definitely India is much better than Pakistan, isn't it? This is how most of the paragraphs are structured. Do you need to read everything? If you read the first line and the last line, would you not understand it? At the beginning, I said, oh, India is better than Pakistan. Then da da da, then da da da, then da da da. And again, at the end, I'm saying the conclusion. Or maybe I could have changed my view. It is generally believed that India is better than Pakistan. And probably I could have given some counter examples. And at the end, unlike what people believe or contrary to what people think, Pakistan is better than India. I just have to read 2 lines to understand what was going on in the whole passage, isn't it? Do I need to read the whole passage? But yes, you have to be conscious about it. And you have to apply this technique with a little active mind. And you should be excited about being a mind reader. I'll give you one example very quickly. Abhishek used to work for a telecom company, these people who are do, working on routers and everything. And this guy used to get 38 on 40, 40 on 40 in reading. His English was not very good because he was not from that background, but he used to get these kind of marks in reading. How? Working with Airtel, and working on routers about which he doesn't know much. He simply knows how to use Jugaad to get something fixed. He used to apply the same knowledge in reading. When I used to ask him, it was surprising. When I used to ask him, how do you know this is the right answer? He was not having any explanation. He simply used to say, I felt that this is the only thing which can come here. He started working on symbols. So don't be a slave of English, I'm telling you. Try to identify certain symbols which are either in the form of words or in the form of certain English punctuation marks. When you go to do them, you will find reading will become super exciting. And don't feel bad after getting a wrong answer. Just write about it, try to relate to it, and forget it. Move on and revise it, as I said. The problem is we do many tests, but we still do not develop technique. We do not focus on any technique. Did you ever think like this, the way I'm telling? There is no. What is the best way to avoid a lion? What is the best way to avoid a lion? Tell me quickly. What's the best way to avoid a lion?
Well, yeah, now.
What is the best way to avoid a lion? Don't think much. What is the best way to avoid a lion? Close your eyes. What is the best way to avoid your lion? You're sitting in your room. There is no lion here. What is the best way to avoid him? Lion is even not here, right?
Don't think about that.
Don't think about it. And what else?
Ignorance.
And don't go to the jungle.
Yeah.
Don't go to the
Then
jungle,
don't.
right? What is the best way not to get confused about the passage?
Don't think about it too much.
No, don't read the
Not to.
passage, man. Isn't
Okay.
it?
But the questions comes in between that,
Hold
na?
on, hold on, hold on. I'm not saying don't read the questions. I'm saying read the questions and answer the questions. Don't read the passage. Just get the basic idea about the passage, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm
See,
just
I know
asking
I'm
that.
exaggerating a little bit, but
No,
please
no, no,
try to
it's not.
understand what I'm trying to say. You know what happens? We pay too much attention to the passage. We pay too much more than required attention to the passage, and we get confused about it. That's the problem. We pay too much attention to the language. When we pay too much attention to the language, we miss the signals and we become slave of our own understanding. I'm not understanding it. Even without understanding everything in the passage, you can answer the questions. All I'm trying to say is this: please be focused on questions more than the passage. Now, I know the question is, even if, I mean, in order to answer the question, you have to go to the passage. So just go to the passage. Go to the passage means go to only those 3, 4 lines where this question would be. Just those 3, 4 lines. And try to gather the idea. Don't try to understand everything.
Sometimes ultimately it happens that we end up reading the entire passage because I mean all the questions cover all the paras.
Yeah,
I mean
I do.
hardly you will find out. You will see,
No,
you'll realize at the end that hardly there might be just 1 or 2 paragraphs that you wouldn't have read when you're reading the.
Yeah. See, we will all of us will end up dying one day. We will definitely die, right? All I'm saying is enjoy your life. Die when the time comes. No, you can't avoid it. But at least when you are living, search happiness. At least when you are doing the passage, focus on questions. Focus should be on questions. In order to answer a question, if you end up reading the whole passage, absolutely fine. The purpose should not be to read the passage, is all I'm saying. The purpose should be to answer the questions. Let's say there are 10 questions in the passage. Out of 10 questions, 5 questions can be read by reading just 2 lines. I'm telling you, this is the reality. Out of 10 questions, you'll find that 5 questions can be read by just reading 2 lines, 2 lines, 2 lines, which are spread across the passage. So just read those 2 lines with respect to those 2 questions. See what is the sequence. What is your name? Who said this? Who's speaking? I mean, I don't really want to point out, but just want to address you once. All right. So the whole point is this. See, initially, you read the first paragraph and the last paragraph. You read the first line and last line of each paragraph. You have a map. You don't know the passage, but you have a map, right? Now you go to the questions. You try to understand where can it fall. Usually the questions follow the same sequence as the passage. If it is the initial question, it would be at the initial stage somewhere, right?
Okay. Yes.
So you get those questions, and based on the position of the question, you can guess where the answer would be. So you know the context, you know the question, you know the keywords. Just search the answer, search those keywords, read that window, answer it. Do you all relate to what I'm saying? Are you able to understand? Do you all not try to understand the passage when you do reading comprehension and you feel
What?
challenged? I used to do it. I used to feel challenged if I didn't understand the passage in its entirety. Let's say it is about space science and how do people send signals to space, and how do people send signals from space to Earth. And the passage is about it. I'm not a new, what is that, space scientist. It could be they have liberty to give passage from anywhere and everywhere.
Yes.
And you could try it like chronobiology. I never knew about it. How does chronobiology work and what is it and those things.
So if we start focusing on directly, firstly on the questions itself, we will get the answers.
To a great extent, that's what I'm trying to say. Although I'm not saying that you should not focus on passage, but yes, the crux of the matter is this. I'm
Yeah.
saying that
It,
use the passage only to understand the context. Like, for
yes.
example, this is about aircrafts and accidents in aircrafts and how different methods came into existence. What is FAA? Some rules about you know controlling ATC, air traffic control. I was reading this passage yesterday, and they talk about so many things, so many technical things. If I understand the context, I'll be able to answer at least 80%, 70 to 80% reasonably, I would say, questions for sure. How about answering 70 to 80% without reading the passage?
It's
Try
better.
it once. If you are able to answer 70 to 80% of the questions without even reading the passage, will it not be a blessing in disguise? Would you not be saving a lot of time?
Yeah, that's what. We will save the time.
Yeah. So time management is not a problem, it's a solution. We look at time management as a problem, and that's why we try to discover the problem with time management. Let's look at it like a solution. How can I manage my time in the best possible way? So these are a few techniques. I'll just sum it up so that the things would not look scattered. Read the first para, the last para first, read the first line and the last line of each, and then focus on questions. When you go to the question, identify the keyword, look at the window of information. You may have to expand the window, or you may have to contract the window based on how much information is required to answer that question. Answer the question, move on. This is what we discussed about reading right now.
Yes.
All right. I like to take just one more technique in this session about reading, and I'll wind up. For writing, I've got around 17 chapters which I've made. So I will not be covering all of them here. I will be sharing all those 17 chapters with you. I want you to go through them quickly. Although we will discuss about them briefly, but then talking about each of them in detail might be a little difficult for me. So those 17 chapters, each of them, none of them is more than 30 minutes. Most of them are like 10 to 15 minutes. So 15 into 17 would be like 170 plus maybe how much? 75. So somewhere around 4 hours. So you'll have to spend 4 hours doing that, those 17 chapters of reading. I think it is, yeah, you can go through it. That will make a lot of sense. That's your homework for today. Anyways, so this technique, this is called as combing. This is a reading technique which I call as combing. What is combing? This is the whole paragraph, right? I asked this question, none of you answered all those questions. I want you to answer all the questions I posted today. So when you do the passage, you know, read one paragraph, do all the questions related to this paragraph first. Don't read the whole passage, just one paragraph. Do all the questions related to this paragraph wherever they lie. All right. You might not be very sure that this question relates to this. Still do this and put a question mark that you are not sure, because probably there might be some information later, right? Once you are done with this paragraph, forget it. Then go to the next, then go to the next, which means you are actually forgetting every paragraph after reading it because you have answered all questions related to it. This makes you very clear about what you are thinking at this moment. You are not carrying the baggage of previous paragraph in the next paragraph. Again, this is not the best technique or the only technique. It works many times very beautifully. Don't overload yourself with extra information, is what
Sir,
combing says.
come again. I couldn't understand what exactly you're saying about combining the whole
Combing,
thing.
combing, combing. देखो
Okay.
combing करते ना, the way we comb our hair,
Yes.
combing. So just focus on one portion at a time. Don't comb the whole head in one go because your comb is small. The same comb can go to many places at different times, but not at once. So that's what combing is. You do one paragraph, do it very thoroughly.
Okay.
Read it very thoroughly. Don't go to the next paragraph. Read the paragraph first very thoroughly and find the answers related to that. This is super useful when you are doing those heading matching questions, who said what questions, those type of questions. One paragraph at a time and do that. I mean, do all the questions. This way, you will read the passage also, and with reading the passage, you would have answered all the questions also. And you can always go with a fresh mind.
Okay.
Why am I unhappy? This girlfriend ditched me. She said something bad to me. The problem we are unhappy is the reason we are unhappy is we carry a lot of baggage with us. In reading comprehension also, we carry the baggage of previous paragraph in the next paragraph, which makes the whole thing very confusing. What if we leave one paragraph after doing all the questions related to it? So you can try this. Combing says don't have to read the whole paragraph. It's not a question of, see, the problem is we are all acclimatized by the Indian education system, which believes in rote learning and remembering. Not if not rote learning, remembering for sure. You have to remember a lot of stuff. So what do? You read the whole passage, you try to remember everything. I'm saying start forgetting. Can you please practice forgetting? It's a skill. If you don't know how to forget, it is a problem. Please do this paragraph, forget it. Because you have this, whatever this paragraph could do for you, it has already done. You did all the questions related to it. Now it makes sense to forget it so that you can look at this paragraph with a fresh pair of eyes.
Okay.
Does this make sense?
What you mean to say means focus on paragraph what you have done.
Exactly.
Then
Exactly.
go to the other paragraph.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So we discussed about first para, last para. We discussed about combing. Apart from this, if you go through the video which I have posted today, I talk about a few more techniques. Like there are questions called as line-based questions, and so word-based questions and line-based questions, paragraph-based questions, and passage-based questions. So you should do these word-based and line-based first, which are easy. Choose your battles.
Yes.
So I've talked about that in detail there. You also should use process of elimination. Do not look for the correct answer. Look for the best answer. There may be two correct answers, but there will be one best answer. What do I mean by this? So we call this as process of elimination. Process of elimination is where when you read the options, don't look for the right option. Look for the wrong option and cut it. This does not make sense because this has this problem, this has this problem, this has this problem. Let me go with this. What we do when we read these options, we ask in our mind, we ask, can this be the right answer? Can this be the right answer? Can this be the right answer? Don't say that. Ask, can this be the wrong answer? Oh yeah, what could be the reasons that this would be wrong? And eliminate it. This is the wrong answer, eliminate it. What the answer which has got least flaws is the best answer. It might not be the correct answer in that context. You might not be convinced, but you are a little more convinced than rest of the options. Don't go for the correct answer. I want the correct answer. There's nothing like correct answer. It's just relatively better than rest of the choices. How do you identify this? Start giving marks to the choices. Out of 10, this choice gets 7 out of 10. This choice gets 8 or 9. Do this. You would see out of 4 choices, you would be able to eliminate 2 directly. Just these 2 would be there, which would look very similar. Give marks to them. When you give marks to them, you'll start evaluating them like an examiner. इसमें इसने ये वर्ड जो डाला है इसका कोई मैचिंग वर्ड नहीं है दिस पर्टिकुलर वर्ड सीम्स टू बी आउट ऑफ प्लेस दैट्स व्हाई आई एम नॉट गिविंग marks to this one. Yesterday I was doing a question. The problem was related to process and principle. Process and principle. When I write them like this here on the screen, they look very, very different and distinct. But they seem to be very similar when you are doing the passage. There was a true false not given question. Later on, scientists improvised the process which was given by somebody. This was the question. But in the passage, they said that the principle was used for many years. However, they got better output. How can you get better output? By using the same principle? Because they started using computers, they started doing a little more monitoring. What is happening here? Can somebody tell me?
The process.
Yes. So the question was, they improvised the process. All the kids said, oh, where are they saying they improvised the process? They are saying the same principle was used. Here they are saying they improvised the process. They didn't use the word process. They said they started using computer and there was better output. Isn't it? So this is what, when you focus on questions and when you read the way I'm saying, you'll be able to relate to what they are saying. So don't go for the correct answer. There is nothing like correct answer. There is the best answer. And the best answer is the one which matches, like where the keywords have more synonyms. Synonym matching is possible, like the way I'm telling you here. Principle and process. It was a beautiful question. All right. So I'm going to send you some challenges. Take it like, reading is like mind reading. Don't consider reading as a test, With the help of symbols, are you able to talk to a German guy? And can you express yourself in such a nice way that the German guy also understands you? Take it like that. At least be thankful to reading test that it is not in German. You still understand a little bit of English. Just consider that much English only. But try read. So when you switch off your English, your symbol reading technique will get switched on automatically. You will not be focusing on English. You will be focusing on symbols. What are we doing? Read the first paragraph, last paragraph, read the lines, look at those symbols, semicolon, colon, dash, double dash, words. What am I telling you? Aren't these symbols? When will you focus on symbols? When you switch off your language button. And these symbols will tell you more than what the language can tell. If you're good at language, use both of them. But yes, definitely focus on questions more and try to match the answers. Don't be a slave of the passage or understanding the passage. So I know today we have just discussed about the principles. I have not really touched upon any application of them, which we'll see tomorrow. So I'm going to send some tests of reading and listening. You're supposed to do reading test one and reading test one and test two from book 8. All right. I want you to do academic only. They are the bigger ones. Test one and test two. I think this maybe test two if it is longer, but test one for sure. Finish test one. The whole 3 passages of reading of academic from test one. Why I'm saying academic? Because this is a little difficult. And these are the passages where maximum errors take place, maximum mistakes happen. Small passages, most of the people are able to do. And you will also do reading. You will do reading the way I have told. Round 1, round 2, round 3. After round 1, you will be reading the transcript. Round 2, round 3, you should get 40 on 40. Till the time you get 40 on 40, you are supposed to do reading. All right. So see you tomorrow the same time. And please shoot all the questions you have in the group. I would love to answer them. And maybe I'll get something to learn from all of you. Thank you so much for attending the session today. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.